Hey everyone, today we are solving intelligence on HackTheBox, a medium-rated Windows machine. I'm using RustScan to enumerate the services on the ports. RustScan is effectively a better version of Nmap, and Nmap is a port scanner. I've used some Nmap arguments here, SC for default scripts, SV for enumerate versions, and ON to basically output it to a file. We can see there are a number of ports open. Now, one thing that I find interesting is looking at basically the port numbers and trying to figure out what kind of machine we're dealing with. So straight away, without even looking at the actual service names or what they are, I can tell a few things here. So we have 53 open. Often when we have 53 open, it means that it's implementing its own DNS server, as 53 is often used for DNS. We have 80, so some kind of web application. Whether this is actually doing anything important or not, we'll find out. Then we have 88 for kerberos. And now this is very interesting because you're not really going to find kerberos on a Linux machine. And when you do see kerberos on a Windows machine, it often tells you that it's part of an Active Directory environment. Then we have 135 and 139. This is basically SMB and IMSRPC. These services are really just used for sharing information about the system and also for some file storage. We have 389 for LDAP, which is basically a Windows directory service where you can effectively query information about objects within an Active Directory. Sometimes you need authentication. Sometimes you can do it without authentication. It varies. And then we have 445, which is an extension to SMB. Let's go ahead and look at the actual service information in more detail. We have 53, as I said before, for DNS. This will really be used for when an Active Directory environment wants to implement its own DNS to say, okay, this localhost on this IP links to this machine name, and really it just helps with that kind of stuff. So having a centralized DNS makes things a lot easier and able to obviously manage it from an environment perspective rather than locally managing, say, the etc host file on your Windows machine. Okay, cool. So then we have a web application. We'll check that out later. But before we move on to the rest of the plots, to go ahead and run some enumeration on that web app, I'm going to go ahead and run a GoBuster, which is effectively just a directory brute forcing program. I'm going to go ahead and run whatweb, see what else is running on there. I'm going to go ahead and open up a new terminal and run nicto, and then just let it run on its own. We can see there's a few things open. We have an index.html and a documents. We'll come back to that later. Okay, cool. So then we have 88 for kerberos, nothing particularly interesting here. We have the server time. This is important for when you need to actually interface with kerberos, as clock times matter. More on that later. We have MSRPC and then LDAP. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what came back in the web application, since it's at the start of the hierarchy in our Nmap. So let's go ahead and start with that. So we have a document and we have an index.html. Okay. On the web app technology perspective, we have a simple HTTP server on IIS 10.0, and nothing really that interesting. We have also a domain name, so intelligence.htb, maybe more on that later. And then let's check out nicto, just to see if nicto brought anything back. Nothing that interesting for the moment. Okay, no worries. Let's go ahead and check out the web app. Let's go ahead and go to intelligence.htb. Cool. Not really much to look at right now. It looks like a very blank page. There is, however, two links on here. So we have two documents. We have 20.01.01 upload.pdf, and we have 20.12.15 upload.pdf. So interesting enough, actually, we have a documents folder, and we have some PDFs in there. So what struck me as interesting in this case as well, these documents are full of basically just Latin, in this case filler text, but maybe there are some that aren't. Let's go ahead and download one of these documents and see what we can find from it. Go ahead and download. Want to save it? Yeah, cool. I'll go ahead and just put it into my enum directory. Actually, we'll just keep it simple and we'll put it into here. Go ahead and just move this out of the way. And bittersweet too. Go ahead and I assume that it's gonna have put it into my downloads directory, downloads, and then it would be called like load. I don't know what it was called now. Yeah, that will do. And then put it into here. Cool. So now if we get ls, okay, cool. Let's go ahead and use exif tool to see if we got any information from it. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and kill the nicto since it's taking up space. And I want to go ahead and kill the dirtbuster too, since that's also taking up space. Or GoBuster. Okay, cool. So exif has pulled some information back from the PDF. So we can see really the file name, the size, but what I'm looking at here is the creator, William Lee. And I imagine the same with the other one. So one thing that's interesting with kerberos, one thing that's interesting with kerberos, and I've actually demonstrated this in my pivot API video, is you can actually query if a name exists or not. For example, I can say, oh, I have the name William Lee, and kerberos will tell me if it exists. But I'm not going to mess around with William Lee right now, because I want to basically enumerate the other PDFs before I, go ahead and do it, step by step, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and basically build a little script to enumerate these, because see, I know that there's a year, and from what I can see here, this must be the month, because this is 15. So we have the year, we have the month, and we have the date. I imagine if I would say, put like a 3 in here, we might get a different document. I guess, who knows? Yes, we got 404 in this case. I basically want to see, am I going to get another document? So let's go ahead and basically automate this process, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just take the name of the file. And I'm going to go ahead and basically just create a script to do the work for me. So go code, we'll call it, I don't know, enum doc, yeah, that'll do me. Cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put in the name at the top. It should have copied to my clipboard, but it didn't for some reason. Copy, paste. All right, so really we're looking for year, month, date, okay? So something like this. So we have the year, the month, and the date. You'll also notice that we're having to prepend the 0 in front of it. And really I want to make it so it does that automatically. We can go ahead and just create a little for loop. So for, say, day in range 1 to 32, so 31 days in a month, basically. And then we'll go ahead and just print day, if I can type right. Cool, let's go ahead and hit run. Fine, whatever. Go ahead and hit run. So here we have 1 to 31. I don't really want it to look like that, so I'm going to go ahead and make it prepend the 01 just so it's right. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this in quotes like this. Put an F there. Wrap this in brackets. And I want to go ahead and basically set it so that it will format the information with a 0 before it. So if I go ahead and hit run now, we're going to get basically 1 to 31, but there's going to be no 0 prepended. Let's go ahead and hit colon 0 to D to basically put it to 2 decimal places. Let's go ahead and, at least I think that's what it does. And basically what it will do is it will prepend it with 0, basically. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's like 2 digits, I'm not sure. I literally just Googled make, like prepend a number with 0, and this is what it came up with, and it works super well. So we need to do that for the day and the month, right? Let's go ahead and then do for, we want to go ahead and then make it so now it does it for the month as well. For month in range, let's say, I want to do it backwards because, see, we have 12 and we have a 1. And like this is the latest date, so let's assume that it's not going to go any later than the current date. I want to go ahead and start from there, so let's go ahead and start with, we'll do it negatively, so we'll just do like 12 to 1, and then we'll minus 1, so basically inverting the for loop. We'll go ahead and just comment this out for the moment. Go ahead and then actually we can actually maybe just put it in here. Let's go ahead and uncomment that. So we have, let's see, the year, so it should be year with a hyphen, then the month, and then the date. Go ahead and hit enter. Looks okay to me. So we have, yep, and then of course we'll go ahead and copy this, hit paste, hit save, go. I got an error because I probably messed something up because I have mess in there. Hit enter, hit run. And then, yeah, so now you can see it goes down to 2. That'll do me. Doing 11 months is fine. Okay, cool. So now we have the roughing. Let's go ahead and then prepend it with the upload thing. So it should be like this. Go ahead and just check that it's right. Yeah, -upload.pdf. And put that in there. And then now we should have a full list of basically PDFs. Cool. All right, next we basically want to then make a request to it to basically see if it was found. So really simply, let's go ahead and store this to, let's say, file name, equals here, file name. Then we'll go ahead and make a little function to do the make request, basically. Make request. And simply what we're going to go ahead and do is import the request module. Cool. Import requests. What we'll go ahead and do is we'll then set the URL to be something like this. I'm going to go ahead and grab the URL, paste that in there, remove this part here, put in the angle brackets or whatever they're called, curly brackets, fname, pass in the fname here, cool, and then we'll go ahead and just call this. So we'll just be like make request fname, cool. And then if we then go ahead and just say print the URL just to see that it works, okay. Go ahead and go unmatch thingy. So I basically just remove this. Fine. Let's go ahead and run it again. Okay, so we have intelligence HTTP document. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and come out and go requests.get and then just chuck in the URL in there. And then we'll assign the response of that to R. So basically our request object. Then what we want to go ahead and do is, so when we went to a non-existent page, for example, I should have it on one of these, don't know, if I go to say, I don't know, 13, we're going to get a 404, and if we go into the inspect element and we go into storage, and go in, not storage, go into network, my bad, go ahead and reload the page, we'll see we get a 404 status. We can see that actually as a status code. So that basically tells us it's giving us an actual genuine 404 status code versus just a page that's giving us a 404 and actually a 200. Let's go ahead and then go back into here. And then what we want to go to is if r.status, I think it's r.status code does not equal 404, then we want to go and do something. Let's go ahead and be like print found, and then we'll just do, I don't know, URL. Make that format string. Let's go ahead and hit play. Got an error, no schemas applied. Just go HTTP ::, hit this again. So yeah, see if we go ahead and cancel this now, we can actually see that we're not getting everyone working. We have like, you know, 12.10, 12.15, 12.20. Those are working, so that's good to me. Okay, what I'm going to do now is to make this a bit easier for me, I'm going to go ahead and import OS. So I can go ahead and basically manually view these. And it'll be a lot quicker, and also, you know, text-wise, we can actually read it. So go ahead and then take this and basically just save it somewhere. So I want to go ahead and do like os.system, and then we need to go ahead and make a folder, make dir out, cool. I want to go ahead and be like Firefox out, and then basically the f name. Cool. So then that should now work. But before we can do that, we actually need to store the file somewhere. So let's go ahead and actually write it to a file. So with open, and then basically just we'll just call it like out/fname. Go ahead and make it a format string. And then make it so it writes it. So using the W flag, oh, that's the Q. Close enough. And then as f. What this will do basically is open the file as the f object. So we'll basically open the file, we store it as the f, so the object of the file is stored in there, and then we can simply just open up the file, use the write on it, and then just write basically the r.text to that document. That should now work. Let's go ahead and just close this out of the way. Cool. Let's go ahead and now run it through. What this will do basically, just a recap, is create basically a month to range list. So 2020, you can see here, we'll have like 2020, the month, the date, prepended with 0, make a request, see if it has a 404, and if it doesn't have a 404, then basically tells you found it, and then write it to a file. Let's go ahead and hit save, but before we do, let's go ahead and just cd into out, and see that it is empty, right? Nothing in here. Fine. Let's go ahead and run the code. Let's go ahead and hit ls now. Did something error out? Perhaps it did. No such file directory out. No worries. I can go ahead and perhaps this is running. Yeah, so this is running locally. So we need to go ahead and be like box and then run it again. Hit enter. Now it should work. Hit ls, and now we have files that can get created. Super easy. Easy enough. But I don't really see much point in doing that for all of them. So let's go ahead and simply just change this to just comment this out for the moment. Oh. Comment this out, and then actually just open up Firefox, and then just literally open up the URL like this. Cool. And then go to run this again. So basically, I wanted to demonstrate was writing the files locally, and then also having Firefox here. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Actually, for the sake of ease, what I'll do is I'll switch this around a little bit. Let's go ahead and run the code. You'll see it basically open up a million Firefoxes. You'll see in a sec. Assuming I did this right. Yeah. So it's going to open up a million Firefoxes with all of the valid 404s. All the valid non-404s. When this finishes, which will be in a second, I'm going to go ahead and just change it so it does the others. Cool. Almost there. We're at 07, 06. This might seem stupid, but I can literally just go through these really quick and just be like, cross. Cool, almost there. We're into February, and that seems to be open so far. Cool. While we're looking through this, let's go ahead and actually just write these locally. Go ahead and do that. So then that's going to run again, but basically just store it locally to a file. Right, that's what I wanted to do. Let's go ahead and review these now. So this is Latin. I'm just going to basically keep removing them till I see something that is interesting. Maybe I don't, maybe I do. But I just want to basically go through all of the documents really easily and just, I can just really quickly just delete them as I see them. I'm probably doing this quicker than you can keep up because it's obviously me doing the clicking. See, we saw something there. We had a new account guide, interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and start from this side and basically just keep deleting till I see anything else interesting. Okay, nothing interesting on this end. Go ahead and click here and start on this side. Keep deleting. Okay, there was something there that wasn't Latin. Cool, let's go ahead and keep closing. Okay, cool. So it turns out we have two PDFs, right? We have a new account guide and we have an internal IT update. So let's go ahead and check out the new account guide. Welcome to Intelligence Corp. Please log in using your username and the default password of New Intelligence Corp user 9876. After logging in, please change your password as soon as possible. So we have a password. Cool. Let's go ahead and add this in here. New password. Fine. But we don't know what the user account is. That's okay. We can go ahead and pull that information out. Let's go ahead and ls in here. We should have a million of these. Cool. Let's go ahead and grep for, let's say, actually, before we do it, let's go ahead and cat. Just so I know, the first one I see, it's like 2020. We'll take this one. And we can see if we scroll up, basically, that this is a creator. We saw the creator earlier when we did EXIF, except the issue with the EXIF tool thing, basically, is that EXIF needs to work on binary, and because the way that we did this, it may not actually give us that binary data. Let's go ahead and just take the first result. So here we're getting an invalid xref table. Basically, this is because we downloaded the file, but we didn't really apply it in a binary way. I think if I actually add in the WB, like this, that would probably fix it. But I don't think it's massively necessary. I'm going to go ahead and run it actually again, just for the sake of it, just to... Okay, that's fine. I'm going to leave it how it is for the moment. I don't really need it. So basically, what I want to do is I want to basically pull out the creator information. In EXIF tool's case, it can't find it, but it doesn't mean that the data isn't there. It just means that it's not formatted in a way that EXIF can pull it out. Let's go ahead and cat again, just to take another look. We see there's a creator. So what do we see here? Well, we see a creator. This is column 1, and this is column 2. So let's go ahead and effectively just go grep for creator. We'll add in a -i to make it case insensitive RA. So if I do this, it's going to say binary file. If I add in the A, it will then just read it as normal text. We can see here we have creator text. Because we've got a million files, it's prepended this, but that's okay. Let's go to awk. I want to go ahead and pull out. So this is column 1 and this is column 2. Now you may think, actually, no, this is column 1, but this is actually, I think this gets output in the standard error, so therefore it doesn't actually exist, funnily enough. So really, I'm pretty sure it's only column 2 that we're after. So go to awk, go to print. So this will tell us basically to print the first column, which will just give us this whole bit. Actually, I was wrong. Turns out this is all 1 because the colon, my bad. And then go to column 2, and it gives us this, which is what we want. but we don't want all this bracket crap, so let's go ahead and basically remove that. We'll use sed. I could use a cut, but I wanted to show sed because it's basically like a nice little stream editor, which is what it stands for, and it will basically just do the work for us. We can use regex and stuff, but I'm just going to make it really simple, //g. What this will do basically is we are searching for this string, and we're going to replace it with whatever's in between these two slashes. If I go ahead and say change it to, I don't know, subscribe, it will then go ahead and basically put subscribe in place of it. I don't want that though. I do want you to subscribe, but I don't want it to be like that. Cool, let's go ahead and then semicolon it, s/close //g, and then should now remove it. I messed something up. That should now work. Cool. Let's go ahead and then sort. Hit enter, and then boom, we have all the information. Let's go ahead and pipe it into names.txt. Cool, that's now working. So let's go ahead and now take a look at basically what we can do with that information. So we have a password, and we have a bunch of usernames. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with that. So let's go ahead and use crackmap. Simply crackmap. You can use other tools too, but I'm going to use crackmap SMB, which will basically just let us enumerate what's going on there. So we can use names. Names. We should be able to use crackmap. Maybe it's because it's trying to use that. Let's try this now. Names, and then basically this, right? So if I now run this, basically what it's going to do is it's going to use the names we just found and the password we found. So let's hit enter. In this case, we got an error because I guess it messed something up. I think this is because actually names is in the previous directory. Let's go ahead and just add in /names. Okay, yeah, now it's working. So now what it's going to do is basically going to brute force all the names and the passwords. And here we have Tiffany Molina. Cool. So now we have an effective user account. Well, where do we go from here? Well, now we have Tiffany Molina. We can actually use that information to basically enumerate what's going on underneath. So we go to like shares. Not that one. That's a little bit ahead. Shares. I want Tiffany's account. That's the one I want. All the stuff. God. Shares. I just want the Tiffany Molina account. There we go. Cool. So we hit enter here, and basically we'll have Tiffany Molina's account. And we can see here that basically she can access, or he, however she would prefer to be preferred to. They can basically read a few different shares. We have the IT share, and we have the user share, and other bits and pieces. I'm not massively fussed about, say, the sys4 right now, or netlogon. I'm interested in this IT share. I'm going to go ahead and use SMB map, basically just to read the IT share. Here we can see there's a down detector. Interesting. Go ahead and run it again just to see. So we have a down detector. I'm going to go ahead and just CD back a little bit, and then I'm going to add in the -a to basically download that file. I'm going to go ahead and open up the down detector in our VS Code, wherever it is. There it is. Let's go ahead and read the code. Okay, so from what we can see, it's PS1 file, so basically PowerShell. We're importing the module Active Directory, basically meaning we're going to be interfacing with the Active Directory. And then we're running a for each on the result of this query, this LDAP query, effectively. And what we're doing is we're basically saying, get some information from here where the object name is like something else, basically starts with web, right? So what else is there? Well, if we look actually at the LDAP query, we can see we're referring to the intelligence.htb, we're referring to DNS, the domain name DNS zones, and then basically just all the DNS names that the Active Directory has access to right now. And then we're taking that, and then for every record, so basically taking every record in this, assigning it to this, we're going to make a request to http:/record name. In this case, basically what it's doing is it's going to make a request to the DNS names just to check if it's up every 5 minutes. And if it isn't up, it's going to then send an email to Ted.Graves and then saying it's down, basically. So what do we know from this? Well, basically, what's happening is in the script, every 5 minutes, what will happen is it's going to check all the DNS names in the Active Directory. And then it's going to then make a request, like a web request, to that DNS name using the default credentials. The main part here being default credentials means it's going to provide basically some authentication to that web request. Okay, so where do we go from here? Well, I actually just want to have a quick look at what this looks like inside LDAP, really just to see how it looks. We haven't looked at LDAP particularly yet, but if I go ahead and just simply run this, I'll go ahead and explain it. It's quite a long query, so I'd rather just basically just paste it and explain what's happening. So basically, we are running an LDAP search on intelligence.htb. This has been the domain and the password we're going to use for the Tiffany account. And then basically this is our query. So we're basically just searching for the exact string that they used. I've removed the AD colon before it. And then if we hit enter, we should now get a bunch of data back. And basically what it's doing is it's looking through this data. We can actually see that we're looking for where the object name is like web. And basically what it's saying is it's looking for all the records in here. And then it's looking for where the object name is equal to web or sounds like web. So really what it is a case of just looking at the DNS records, really. These aren't really formatted in a way that's very visible, but the Active Directory will be able to basically decode them. And that's all that really matters right now. So now we've looked at that, let's go ahead and actually see what we can do from there. So a recap of what we've done so far. So basically we have this script and it's going to basically make a request to a domain name on the server that we have, right? What I want to do is I want to attempt to basically inject my own domain name into the server using LDAP, so then it will make a request to me. A few things we need to do for this to work. We need to use a tool called responder, right? I'm going to go ahead and open up a new terminal. I'm going to go sudo responder, basically go into listen, using responder, and basically listen out for HTTP requests, which is what this does here. Basically, make a listen out for HTTP requests to come to our server, right? Next, we need to go ahead and use a tool called DNS tool. I might actually have it already in my other intelligence HTTP here. I'm going to go ahead and just grab it. I think it's like KRB relay. Go ahead and I'll just move it to my current directory so I can just use it real easy. Cool. We'll move it to here. Cool. So go into kerb relay. Basically, what this tool will do is it will allow us to add a DNS entry into the DNS of the system, which will then, when this script then runs every 5 minutes, will then make a request to our system, and it will include what's called a NetNTML hash, and we can then use that NetNTML hash to then authenticate to the machine after cracking it if we can at all. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out just to make things a little bit quicker. I'm going to go ahead and paste the command in and explain it. So we're using the tool is in Python, and basically what it will do is it will add an A record to the web server, to the Windows box, and when this script then runs, it will then look for that in the records, and then it will then make a request to it. So simply running the tool on intelligence using this account, using this password, adding an A record. This is the record, so we're going to add in web aura intelligence.htb, and then this is the basically the lookup, so it's basically our IP, and then this is the IP of the server. Before we run that though, let's just go ahead and check that our IP is actually, yeah, so it's changed to 10.5. That's fine. Let's go ahead and just make this 5. I did this box a little while ago, so it's it was 7 before. In this case, we've ran it, so basically LDAP operation completed successfully. Now, if we wait a minute, we should now get a request to here. I'm going to go ahead and pause while it runs. After waiting a few minutes, this has now come through. So what have we got? So what we have here is basically a NetNTML We can go ahead and copy this hash into a file and then use John to crack it, basically. I'm going to go ahead and just cd out kerb relay real quick. Nano hash, paste it in here. Cool. Then we can go ahead and run John. Simply just run sudo John, then the hash name, and then we'll do that, and then --show. Do like that. That should be okay. Hit enter. It doesn't like the --show. That's okay. We'll go ahead and just hit enter. Cool. And now we can do sudo John hash --show, and then now we have the password of Mr. Teddy. Let's go ahead and grab that. Cool. And then I'm going to go ahead and actually just take Tiffany's password too, since hers is probably somewhere around here. There it was. Yep, Tiffany Molina, because I may need it later. Cool. Go ahead and put that there. Cool. Fine. So now we have Mr. Teddy. Well, now we have access to this account. Let's go ahead and take the next step. So I want to go ahead and see basically what Teddy can, what this account can do effectively. So let's go ahead and see what CrackMap thinks of it. Can it authenticate, say, SMB? So we'll bung it into CrackMap. I'm going to go ahead and do -u. We'll do -u. Actually, just gonna do it on this one because I might already have it in my. I actually want to use one I already have since it'll be easier. CrackMap. Should have a Teddy one in there. Maybe not. Yeah, we do. Cool. Just to save time and me writing out. Okay, so very similar to before. CrackMap. We're using Ted.Graves' user account using Mr. Teddy --shares. Hit enter. And what it will do is it'll basically just tell us what shares this account can access. In this case, not really much more than we could access before. However, it may have access to more bits and pieces than the Tiffany account. What I want to go ahead and do now is I want to go ahead and see from a bloodhound perspective what we can do. So we can go ahead and use what's called the bloodhound Python ingester. I'm going to go ahead and just for the sake of ease, I'm going to go ahead and just move it from my previous one into this current directory. It's a little bit weird, I know, but basically I just want to go ahead and pull it out. It should be in here, so bloodhound.py, put it into here, cd into bloodhound.py, and then we should basically have the bloodhound ingester here. I'm going to go ahead and just run simply this. So we're going to run Python, bloodhound, let's go ahead and just adjust it to fit our current directory. Python free bloodhound.py, Ted.Graves with his password Mr. Teddy. This is the name server, so basically the IP of the server, and then -d for intelligence, and then -c for all. Hit enter. Cool. That's now going to grab that. Cool. Let's go ahead and now run if we go ahead and ls in here, we'll see it's all in here. Kind of regret doing that. Actually, maybe I should have run that again, but somewhere else. Let's go ahead and just make a cd dot. Let's go ahead and just remove all of the, what were they called? Remove 202. Cool. That should now be fine. Let's go ahead and run it again. Let's just make a directory in here. We'll call it, I don't know, bloodhound out. I'll do me. Cool. cd into bloodhound out. I realize now why I had the ../ part in my previous one. / bloodhound, and then that should now work. Cool. Nope. Okay. Yeah, that worked fine. So that's now running. Cool. Now we should now have all the contents of the bloodhound stuff. Hit ls. Sweet. As an added bonus to that, I also want to run LDAP dump basically to get information. So we'll do LDAP dump in here as well, because I basically just want to get as much information as I can about the LDAP. Okay. Go ahead and just run LDAP dump and just drop all the contents into here. Actually, I need to cd into LDAP dump. LDAP dump. I basically want to have as much information as I can, so when I move forward, I now have all the LDAP stuff and all of the bloodhound stuff. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and get bloodhound running. So go ahead. We'll go into the enum directory just to get it all going. So let's go ahead and do sudo neo for jconsole. And then I think it's sudo /opt. That'll be me. Cool. So bloodhound's now opening up. We'll log into that, and then we'll go ahead and just clear the database. Ignore this. Don't look at it. Database info. Let's go ahead and just clear the database. Clear database. Yes. Clear the sessions. Yes. Cool. Let's go ahead and now go into our into here. Get to xdg-open current directory. Fine. Go ahead and grab all this. Go back into our bloodhound, wherever it is, open this out, and then just drop it in. That's going to upload the data now. So now we need to tell bloodhound what we have, right? So we have access to two users, the Ted user and the Tiffany user. Let's go to, first of all, go to Ted. Since this is our most recent user, right click, we'll go to mark user as owned, then we'll go to Tiffany. Yep, right click, mark user as owned, cool. Now we'll go to analysis, and we'll go to shortest path from owned principals. We'll go from, say, Ted.Graves to start with. Here we have a path. So this is us at Ted.Graves. And basically, Ted.Graves is part of the IT support group, which means they have access to read the GMSA password of the SVC user, and then this user has then access to delegate this DC intelligence.htb of the machine. Let's go ahead and check out Tiffany, just in case Tiffany has any access, because you never know. It would be nice if it would actually jump me to her. Are you going to work, Bloodhound? Or go on, Bloodhound, there we go. Right click, go to, actually no, that's not what I want to go to. From own principles, go to intelligence, go to Tiffany. I want to see if basically Tiffany has any access. Tiffany does not have any access. No worries, go back over to her, go back over to Ted. What does it mean then, the GMSA password? Basically what it means is it's like a better service account than a normal service account. Although I believe the password changes every like month or so. And to a ridiculously awkward password that you can't really crack. So it's not really a viable thing to crack, but if you have access to a user that can, you know, that can read the password of another service account, such as read the GMSA password privilege, as you can see here, then basically what that means is you can obviously get to access that service account. In this case, the service account we can access from our access of Ted.Graves is SCC at intelligence.htb. Cool, so let's go ahead and hit the help and see what it tells us. So basically, SCC is a group managed service account, and basically the TED account, which is part of the IT support group, can change the password of, or not change, can retrieve the password of the SCC account. Cool. So rather than trying to follow the abuse info that this has, since this doesn't really explain much, we'll go ahead and Google it. One thing that is worth mentioning, though, is this MSDS attribute. We'll need that later. So this is a good idea to keep in this MSDS attribute in mind. Cool. Let's go ahead and Google read. Actually, I'll just take this one. This one will do. Read GMSA password. Actually, I would prefer the one I originally searched for, read GMSA password by Micah. Yes, this one. So basically, the guy who made the box, lovely Micah Van Dusen, Micah Van Dusen, he created this tool called GMSAreadPassword, and in respect of him, we're going to use his tool, his, her, their tool, etc. So yeah, let's go ahead and grab it. I already have it, but for sake of teaching, go to code, grab it, go over to my terminal, go ahead and just, wherever my terminal is, I've lost it now. Go ahead and just minimize all the stuff in the background. Minimize, and finally, minimize. Cool. Right, we'll go ahead and git clone it. Let's go to cd dot, go to git clone, boom, grab that, cd into GMSAreadPassword. Let's go ahead and basically grab the GMSA password using Ted's account information. So let's go ahead and hit enter here. Simply -3 GMSAreadPassword with their username, with their password on intelligence.htb. And now we should be given access to the service int password. Let's go ahead and grab this. We'll need to make sure we include this since this is part of the hash of their password. So we're not given their plaintext password because it won't be in that format, but we are given their hash password. Let's go ahead and drop this here. Go ahead and grab the user account. Go ahead and save that to a file down here. So yep, that will do me. Okay, next on the agenda, we basically need to see where we can go from here. So let's go back over to Bloodhound, go to SCC int here. We don't really need to mark this user as own since the path is literally here, but allowed to delegate. So how do we basically exploit this issue? Well, basically this SVC int account user has unconstrained or constrained delegation applied to it, which basically what that means is it means that we can impersonate another user. And what we need is this MSDS allowed to delegate property. So you remember earlier I dumped the LDAP information. Well, what I want is I basically need to know this property in a second. Before we can before that though, let's just go ahead and see if there's any abuse information. So we can use Rubius using S4U. And basically, we could just follow this, but I personally prefer to use in-packet tools. I don't know, I just prefer to. But yeah, basically what we're looking for here is we want to go ahead and impersonate the administrator user using the SVC int account's information. So if I go ahead and I want to go ahead and get a service ticket as that user. So if I go ahead and type in anything in-packet GetST, I believe it's called. Basically, it will get us a service ticket. I believe so, at least. Of that, and then we can then use that. Let's see what it says here. What it wants. Basically, it will give us a service ticket, as it says here, and save it as a cache or a cache. As the impersonated user, it's basically going to use this S4U to do that. Let's go ahead and download it. Actually, I might already have it, so maybe I don't need to do that. Let's go ahead and just remove this. Go to GetST. .py. I'm going to do this manually actually because there's a few little bits I need to do from scratch for it to work. So we'll do this like this. It's going to tell us we basically need to add an SPN. So we actually don't know the SPN. I'm going to go ahead and use an example that I followed when I first did this machine that basically gave me a hint as to how to approach the formatting of what I need to send. Use this. So if I go ahead and scroll down a little bit, funny enough, actually, this page tells you pretty much how to pwn the machine. It even has the DNS tool in there, which is kind of crazy. It's almost like the dude who made the box followed this tutorial, but I don't think he did, but who knows. Anyways, so if we scroll down here a little bit, we will have this GetST here. So basically we need an SPN that we have delegation rights to. So basically, in our case, if we go over to our bloodhound, we have delegation rights over to here, but we don't know what kind of MSDS we have here. I mean, I think it kind of does tell us here, actually, to be fair, but I want to go ahead and actually just find this out manually. Basically, we need the SPN, and then we want to tell it what user we want to impersonate, so as in administrator, and then basically who we're authenticating as. So simply, what we want to go ahead and do is put information in there. So if I go ahead and use their example, do they have a smaller example? I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and basically just replace in all the bits. We'll make everything else smaller. Cool. Yeah, go ahead and hit paste. Now let's go ahead and substitute all the information there. So we need the password, we need the domain name, we need the username. So intelligence.htb / so it needs to be the SVC user. And then we're not using that, so we're using hashes. So we need to be like hashes, and then the hash is this bit here. Copy. Cool. Go ahead and hit enter. It's not going to work because basically we haven't filled all the information there. Go ahead and hit up. And the target user, so we want to impersonate the administrator. So admin administrator. Hit enter. Still doesn't work because basically we need to modify this string here. So let's go ahead and go back up here. So in their example, for what they ran, should be here somewhere. What they used is where is it? They used www.server01tasklab.local. We don't know the information for that, but I believe a bloodhound should give us an insight as to what to maybe type. But I personally, I want to go ahead and find the information out myself. Okay, I can't remember how I quite did this, but basically what I want to look for is this MSDS property, which tells us what we're looking for. I know already what the SPN is. I'm just trying to figure out, trying to remember how I figured the answer out in past, how I got it, without taking ages to try and get to it. All right, so anyway, we're looking for this MSDS property, this MSDS AllowedToDelegate 2 property. So that's now copied. Let's go back into our LDAP information. So I'll go ahead into enum. I think it was in here. No, it wasn't. I guess I'll just go ahead and create a new terminal for this for the moment. Go ahead and remove bloodhound out of the way. Go cd back into bloodhound out, and then into LDAP dump, and then grep for like this, and then -ira. IR will be fine. So here we have domain computers JSON. We're looking for this basically. I want to go ahead and get this information out there. So I want to go read link -f, and then it will be domain computers.json. Cool. That will then take basically the path to it. Cool. And then we can probably just actually, in fact, we can probably just use Firefox. Actually, I don't know why I did this long way. Domain computers.json. Cool. Right. We want to go ahead and then Control F for the. Here we go. So here we have the SVC int user, and then they have MSGS AllowedToDelegate over www.dc intelligence.htb. And we know that because Bloodhound told us to look for this particular property in LDAP, which is cool. And we go ahead and now drop this in here, and then go ahead and hit enter. And we probably messed something up somewhere down the line. Let's go ahead and just fix this. Okay, so what did we mess up? Again, TGT for user. What have I messed up? Let's go ahead and just fix everything here. Not sure what I'm doing wrong. Maybe it's because I haven't added in the DC IP, -DC IP, and then we'll just do 10.10.10.248. Okay, it doesn't like whatever it is that we're providing to it. Perhaps I just pasted something wrong. I think actually there's a 0 at the end. If I recall, memory says that shouldn't be a 0. Okay, okay, so here we're getting an error of the clock skew. So whenever you see clock skew, what that means is for kerberos to work, the clock skew, the clock time of your machine needs to be the same as like the remote one. So if we do, I think it's like sudo ntp update, like that. That will basically put our time as the same as their machine. Cool. Now if we go over to here, now basically I had microphone issues, so I do this box a little bit late. But now if we do this now, go to wherever it is here. Now it should now work. So we should now have cool. So now basically that's working, but we need to obviously just adjust. This guy spelled in administrator wrong. I bet that was annoying you guys the whole time you were watching. You're like, no, you spelled it wrong. Administrator. I really messed up the word in administrator. Go ahead and hit enter. Now we have this ticket. Now I believe we can probably do export like that, but I'm just curious actually if it will work without exporting it. So we can do like say SMB client like this. That one didn't work. Let's try say correct map. I want to go ahead and just see if it automatically works. Okay, so we got an error here. That's fine. I'm going to go, I guess, and export it. Maybe that will fix it. I was just curious, basically, if we needed to export it for it to work. Okay, we're getting an error for some reason, a big fat error as well. What is wrong with it? Why doesn't it like it? Invalid principal syntax. Perhaps it's because we need to be like dc.intelligence, because basically the ticket has to line up with the name of the host. Perhaps not. I'm going to go ahead and rerun this just to make sure I did it right this time. So go ahead and export this to be where it needs to be. Export. Yeah. Go ahead and just fix the name. Go ahead and hit enter. Cool. Let's go ahead and say we'll try like, I don't know, SecretsDump or something. Okay, cool, this is working. So basically SecretsDump will dump the machine secrets, and what that basically means is it will dump all the relevant hashing information. So we have the NetNTML hashes, so we have like the LM hash and the NT hash. So we have domain, which is in this, well, actually doesn't show it here, but basically we have the UID, then we have the RID, which is 500, then we have the LM hash, which is this, and then we have the NT hash, which is that. We're not really fussed about the LM hash, since I'm pretty sure this is just a dummy hash anyway. AAD, I'm pretty sure is dummy. Yeah, so these are all like basic things. We're not really fussed about that, so we'll go ahead and copy this, making sure I'm pretty sure to not include the, I don't think it actually matters if we include the comma, but then we'll go ahead and say use equal when RM, like so. And basically here we have intelligence.http administrator with the hash that we just took from SecretsDump on this machine, and then now we have admin on the machine. cd.into desktop, and then we can go into type root.txt, and boom, we have the root flag. Cool, so hopefully that made sense. So originally this box is supposed to be our yesterday before the retirement came out, but I had some microphone issues, so apologies for that. I kind of rushed the box a little bit because of that fact, which I'm kind of a bit annoyed at myself about. But like I say, I wanted to get this box out as soon as I can, and yeah, I like to take my time often with the machines, but just due to the fact that I was already behind on getting the box released, I was rushing it in places. So apologies for that. I'm gonna work hard to make my content better in future. Next week shouldn't be a problem, so my mic doesn't crap itself like it did yesterday. And yeah, thanks again, everyone. If you got this far, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions regarding anything HackTheBoxy, web apps, AD, etc., feel free to let me know, and I'll be trying my best to answer them. Cool. Catch you next one. Take care, everyone. Bye.